I have 201, so let's get started. Welcome, everybody. We're so excited to see you again for our third presentation, Technology and Accessible Communication. Before we start, we're going to let all of the interpreters explain all the forms of accessibility, and then we will start our presentation. Language interpreters, would you like to take over, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Maria Angelica. My pronouns are she and they. And today we will be providing interpretation in Spanish and in Haitian Creole with MARB Language Services. And we're also thanking the American Sign Language interpretation provided by our colleagues today as well. Thank you for supporting us in making this space accessible in the language or the form of communication that we prefer. So today we will be using the Zoom interpretation feature in order to provide the interpretation in Spanish and in Creole. If you would like to listen to today's interpretation in Spanish or in Creole and you are joining us from using a computer, please click on the globe at the bottom of your screen that says interpretation. There you choose the language that you prefer, and that is all. Now, if you're joining us from a phone, it's a little bit different. When you have the Zoom meeting open on your phone, please tap on your phone screen. You're going to see three little dots in the lower right-hand corner, if you're able, that say more. There you choose language interpretation. You choose the language that you prefer. And then at the top right corner, you tap done. I'm also dropping these instructions in the chat. And if you have any questions or any difficulties with interpretation, please let us know and we'll be happy to support you. Also, a loving reminder to all speakers to please pace yourselves as we will be interpreting in real time in Haitian Creole, in American Sign Language, and also in Spanish.
So hi, welcome everybody. My name is Debbie Dietz and I will be your hostess for today. I'm gonna ask everybody to please turn off their cameras unless you are the American Sign Language interpreters so that the people that need them can find them on the screen. So today is our third training in a series of 3 trainings. Our first was on March 21st, and it was about housing. The second was April 11th, and was part 3 on our intersection of disability and abuse. And then today we're going to talk about technology and effective communication. Don't worry if you have missed some of the trainings. All of the PowerPoint slides are available online on DIG's website, and we're going to give you the link at the end of the presentation. And all of the trainings have been recorded and turned into a video, and the video has closed captions and the American Sign Language interpretation. And those videos are available on DIG's YouTube channel, Catalyst Miami's YouTube channel. Now, the first video for training 1 is done and up and available. Training number 2 is finished. We're just getting the closed captions finished, so it should be up by tomorrow. And then it'll take me about a week to get this training number 3, up and on the YouTube channel. And at the end of the presentation, we will have the links of how you can find all of this information and these materials. Before we begin today, I want to take a minute and go over all of the accessibility features that we have used today for this presentation. First, as you've already heard, we take language equity seriously. This presentation is being conducted in English, but people can also listen to it in Spanish or Haitian Creole. And we are having both live captions on the bottom of your screen and ASL interpreters. We have 2 interpreters, and you're going to see them switch throughout the training. You will also notice that the top right-hand part of all of the slides are blank, and that the bottom section of the slides is blank. This was done intentionally, and we have done it so that we can create the recorded version of the training and have room to embed the interpreter in the top right corner and the closed captions across the bottom without having to cover any of the content of the slides. This year, we've added a new feature of accessibility. We have invited Chaplain Besa Buell to guide us in mindfulness activities. You're going to see her twice throughout the training. She's going to start at the beginning in a few moments and center us before we begin. And then she's going to come again in the middle of the training and verbally guide us through a practice exercise. We will also have a breakout room available that will have Chaplain Besa in it and a licensed counselor from the Advocacy Network on Disabilities. Both of them are in the meeting and will stay in the meeting. And if any of the information that we share with you today, you find triggering or upsetting and want to discuss, please put a message in the chat to Sharon Langer, and she will reach out to you and open a breakout room so that in real time, you can have someone to talk to if you need that. Okay, so now we finished all of the instructions and all of the explanations, and I'm going to pass the microphone, so to speak, to Chaplain Besa and let her introduce herself and tell you all about her work and start the mindfulness. Welcome, Besa.
Hello, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here today. I'm your embodiment facilitator. My name is Besa Buell, and I am an endorsed humanist chaplain, a diversity, equity, and inclusion educator, a spiritual director, and community minister, providing decolonized trauma and emotional support through my organization. On the slide, you can see my contact information. So we're going to engage in practices to gather our attention and focus. So what becomes activated is the premotor cortex as we ground ourselves in compassionate embodiment. We are coming from a place that is about great kindness and care, and with the aspiration to benefit others, and that we are in alignment with our character. It is important as a chaplain to create a container of safe space, because during our program, you may find yourself triggered, because we each have different situations, trauma that we have experienced through life. So having this container of safe space is important, and you are aware of what you can expect in our time together. Sacred space. This will be a safe place. This will be a sacred and holy place, a place without time, a place where we are all welcome, feel seen, heard, and supported. So now we're going to set an intention. So I want you to feel the seat that you're sitting in, feel your feet on the ground. Align your spine as erect as you are able. And I want us to take 3 cleansing breaths. Because oftentimes we don't make time to slow down and to be intentional about the space that we inhabit, about the people that we connect to. So today we make an intention that we are going to practice together to witness each other's humanity, stories, and journeys. We open our hearts to be present and open. We understand that this will not instantly remove the pain and trauma we have experienced throughout our lives. However, today, we make an intention to shift so that will be a soothing balm to reset our souls in community. Now, let us take a moment to reset our nervous systems to be present together. Again, if you feel any discomfort in your body, if you feel any distress from situations that you might have had in the previous days or before sitting down here, let's shake them out. Shake them out. If you're able, shake them out. And so breathing into the bottoms of our feet, feeling air in whatever shape you feel it in, traveling through from the bottom of your feet, from the earth, rising into your body, feeling yourself in this space, in this moment, that right now you're going to be held in community. We break away from whatever has transpired before this time. And we're going to reflect for a minute and observe what came up for you as you did this. It could be a physical sensation, a memory, an emotion, or thoughts. And let it come to your awareness. And now let it go. Let it leave and go on through and pass, not passing judgment. And now we are ready to come into wonderful conversation and learning and community. May you be blessed, and may you always feel love in your heart. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Today, we're going to have several speakers throughout the training. Myself, Chaplain Besa, who you just heard, Mark McGuire, who's a deaf accessibility and inclusion specialist. We have Liz Silva, who's the division director of 311 in Miami-Dade County. And you're going to hear the voice of Ali Riaz from the Police Communications Coordinator at 911 in Miami-Dade County, because he had a last-minute conflict, but was able to record his voice on the slides. So you will hear him and see his slides, but he's not going to actually be here to answer questions. But if you have questions, when we get to that section, I will take notes and we will reach out to him after and get answers to your questions. Today, I wanted to start with this short video. When I found this video, I just fell in love with it, and it just is really interesting. So I wanted to share it with you. It was made to get ready for the 2024 Paralympic Games. And they made it to build enthusiasm and a sense of solidarity around 2024 and the goals of the games. The title of the project is called Human Geometric. You're going to see 128 dancers in the video, 15% of whom have disabilities. So I think the video speaks for itself, so I'm gonna turn it on. Please let me know, Sharon, if you can't hear it. So the music was done by the National Orchestra of France, and I hope you enjoyed it. So if you've been following us since we started these virtual trainings, you will remember, sorry, that I started the first training back in 2020 with a timeline of disability through the ages. And I started with lots of pictures. And the first picture I showed you was an ziggurat from the 3rd millennium BC. And I went all the way through history until the digital revolution. And I told you that digital technology was the next big step in breaking down traditional barriers to communication, interaction, and access to information for people with disabilities. Today, we're going to focus our training on technology and communication. As I told you, we're going to have 3 speakers. After our three speakers, we're going to have some time for discussion, and then I'm going to come back and wrap the training all up. But let's get started. I'd like to introduce you to my friend Mark. Mark, you can turn on your camera and take over. You can
Hello, everyone.
and start your section. Well,
Yeah, I'm ready to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is amazing to be able to experience being here with you. And I'll be speaking on effective communication. This is a passion of mine. And so before I get into it, I do want to introduce myself. So my name is Mark McGuire. And first off, I want to share a little bit about myself and my pronouns. I identify and I prefer using the pronouns, specifically he, him, his. Also a part of my identity, I identify culturally as deaf. I'm a deaf individual. You might be, wonder about that, but I do prefer to use sign language. That is my preference, and that is my primary language. So if you're interested about me, I work with Deaf Accessibility and Inclusion Specialist. And that exactly, if you're interested, that centers and focuses on communication and also with the deaf community. And that accessibility of inclusion and how all of that works out with the deaf community in everyday life situations. I'm also a certified professional in web accessibility, and the acronym for that is CPWA. Specifically with web accessibility and making sure that everything is seamless with the technology, with assistive devices as well, so that individuals with disabilities are able to access it. I'm also the founder and president of a business called The Great Accessibility Online. And so that helps with gaining more accessibility online. So yes, I'm very motivated to get us started with our discussion today, the topic being effective communication. Yeah, I guess you can go ahead to the next slide. So with effective communication, to get a clear picture, especially when it comes to the frame of understanding with this topic, we have the American Disability Act, the ADA. And in that, the language that they use in this specific law, it says that all communication must be equally effective. And that's for all people with communication disabilities. To have that equality when it comes with a variety of individuals who have a disability. So on both sides, it has to have that equality present. I found this great file that you are actually able to access and download. And you can share this, or you can even go ahead and post it as well. You can read this, and the file is there. And it is from the United States Department of Justice. And this is a really helpful tool. This document goes ahead and explains more about effective communication. And so it is available here in PDF form. I don't know if we're able to share that link as well in the chat box. If you're able to do that, that'd be great. Okay, so now you might be questioning, what does effective communication mean? Next slide, please, and I can go ahead and explain what that means. Okay. So individuals, people that have disabilities, they have a variety of things involved with those disabilities. For example, it might affect their hearing, their vision, seeing, their speaking, reading, writing, or even understanding. So these individuals might use different ways to communicate than others do. Okay, so we definitely have, it depends, because some people, whether they have one disability or multiple disabilities, there is a variety of different ways to be able to communicate. So now let me go ahead and teach you more through an example, the different ways of effective communication. Next slide, please. So if there are individuals who are blind, possibly they have low vision or are deafblind. Effective communication can be done using either one of these or all of the following. So for example, accessing a qualified person who themselves can go ahead and read and speak out loud the text that's being shared. Definitely accurately and clearly. Also large print material being used as a resource. Braille materials. And electronic materials that can be used hand in hand with assistive technology. Okay, you can now move on to the next slide. Before I go ahead and continue, I want to just explain more about that. I just want to ask the interpreter if my speed is okay. Yeah, you're good. Thank you. Okay. So continuing on our discussion about this and the examples that I'm providing, people who themselves have a speech disability, their effective communication can also be done by using one or possibly all of the following. Having a qualified speech transliterator, meaning that the individual will be speaking and then someone will be listening to that speech and continuing to talk to go ahead and relay that message as it goes on. And that allows people as well, if they need more time, that's a great way to help with effective communication. Using assistive technology such as communication board, a pen and paper, and then also written materials. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. Yeah, those are just a few examples. Okay, so now moving on to the next slide. Yes. Then we have individuals who identify as deaf or hard of hearing, also possibly deafblind. Effective communication that could be done using any of the following. You could have a qualified note taker to accurately take clear notes. Make sure that those notes are very clear. That's an important function of that note taker. A qualified language interpreter that can go ahead and take in that material and interpret it effectively, accurately, clearly. Using sign language, using oral sign language, using oral language, using cued speech, or also using a tactile language. Another way to gain effective communication would be assistive technology such as captions, and also using written materials as well. Okay, next slide, please. Oh, that's that same information, the document that I showed you in the beginning. So if you go ahead and download that file, Like I said, it's from United States Department of Justice. That's a handy tool, the PDF file. You can read it if you're looking for additional information as well. Also, some bonus PowerPoints I have as well to help. You can print those files. I'm willing to share those. You could share them with your coworkers, anyone that you may work with. You could actually, if you have a bulletin board somewhere that's accessible visually, you can post that as well. So this is my free gift to you. Next slide. Now I want you to understand that there's a very diverse group of people with disabilities. So maybe you're not sure, what's going to be the best way for me to go ahead and approach someone with a disability? So it's always okay to ask that individual. You can ask them, how do you prefer that we communicate? And that individual is going to let you know, whatever their preferred method is. So you want to go ahead and give them a chance to go ahead and let the individual respond. And that way you can go ahead and adapt to your skills to include their preferred communication. You want to make sure that you accommodate them in that way and make sure that the communication is indeed successful. Okay. Next slide. Now let's start a bit of a discussion about this topic. So I am curious, everyone here in the audience today, how you would confront a situation yourself if need be. So for example, let's say there's an individual and their preferred mode of communication is something specific, but that doesn't mean that everyone with the same disability prefers that specific mode of communication. They might use different methods to have that effective, successful communication. So for example, if someone is deaf, hard of hearing, you have to realize that not everyone in that community knows sign language. There are some deaf and hard of hearing people that actually have limited reading and writing skills as well. There are some deaf and hard of hearing people that understand sign language better than spoken or even written language as well. And then there's some people that are deaf and blind that don't know sign or aren't familiar with tactile languages, Braille as well, either of those. So it's really important for everyone to have that awareness, to know that there is a lot of variety. There's a lot of different modes of communication, whether someone is deaf or hard of hearing, deaf, blind, that there's a variety of modes. Now, next slide, please. So now let's go ahead and put ourselves in different situations. Think about how that would look like, and you can kind of compare those situations. And when it comes to identity, and you're identifying a specific situation. So for example, all of us are here in the audience. Maybe possibly, let's see, let me think of a specific situation. You might find yourself in multiple situations like this, and then you have to decide, how do I communicate? How can I ask for help if need be? What if, for example, I'm on a sidewalk and there's people passing by throughout the crowd? How would you ask for help in that situation? Would you just ask someone, reach out and ask them for help? Yes, and you can go ahead and share your story or in the chat. You could even raise your hand if you want to share how you would go ahead and ask for help in that situation.
Camilo, you have your hand raised. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, I would call someone with video chat who knows ASL interpretation.
Fred, you want to give your
Yeah,
answer?
Yeah, go ahead. I would probably do some form of sign language or try to write it down to talk to the person. That's probably what I would do. That's probably how I would go about it if I was in that situation. I have friends that are in it with CP and they use a computer to do their language.
Oh yeah, wonderful. Great suggestions, definitely. It's easy to feel overwhelmed in some situations and confronting new people if you're in a crowd of people on a sidewalk, for example. And, if you feel more comfortable writing back and forth, you can go ahead and do that. It can be an effective method of communication.
Mark, we have 2 more people with their hands raised. Erie, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Irie with the Advocacy Network on Disabilities. I thought we were talking about if I was on the sidewalk with a lot of people passing me, how would I ask for help? So that's what I'm answering. And what I would do is I would just step in front of somebody and get them to stop and then talk to them.
Besa, you want to go next?
Definitely. I would actually either use my hands to get their attention, so that way they can actually make like a face-to-face connection. And I would also use my phone for the translator, because when I type stuff in, like it'll speak out loud, and that way they're able to at least understand that I need help.
And Kat, you're our last person with your hand up.
Yes, hi. So I've actually been in situations where I've been on the sidewalk and needed help, and it's kind of difficult for me to ask for help. Like that's not something that I'm used to doing. So a lot of the time I use eye contact and nonverbal cues of like showing in my facial expressions, like I'm struggling here. Can you please come help me? And so, if people understand, then obviously they help. But that's actually how I do it, is I try to make eye contact and show in my facial expression that I'm struggling and I need assistance.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, definitely related to the point that we're making here. If you want to get someone's attention in a situation such as this, you can definitely use your hands. You can gesture. You can access your body language, your facial expressions as well. Yes, all of those are helpful when it comes to effective communication. Okay, so maybe now we could try another situation and see if there's a different way of communicating with this one. So another example, let's say you are in a very loud environment. Maybe there's music playing, you're at a concert, and no one's able to speak and be able to understand each other with that noise. It's way too loud for anyone to go ahead and understand the communication. Same thing if you were at an airport, for example, when that plane goes overhead or starts to take off, it can be really loud and you're not able to communicate effectively. What is something that you would do to be able to have effective communication in that situation?
Someone put in the chat pen and paper.
They also said in the chat ASL apps.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. When I was growing up, let's say, for example, sometimes I would go to the beach because it was close to the runway. You could actually see the planes taking off. And I would just be drawing in the sand. And that was a really nice a way for me to go ahead and communicate with people since it was loud. You know, it was beautiful with the water coming in, and you have like a clean slate every time the tide comes in and washes away your message. So that's another way. Every time the tide came in and washed it away, I'd go ahead and draw another message in the sand.
We also had someone write in hand signals and gestures. And then another comment, write your needs down or point to what you need. Make a symbol, like if you want a glass of water, make the motion of drinking.
Wonderful examples, wonderful. Okay, so one last situation. This is a situation that actually has happened with me many times in the past. I've experienced it, especially in an emergency situation. So a hurricane, a natural disaster, for example, let's say you're actually like in a room where no sound can actually penetrate through the wall. Maybe they have those, you know, windows that are soundproof or hurricane proof. And then you're unable to have communication or sound go down to the street if you need to call out to someone. So how would you call out if you needed help in a situation like that? Maybe I could help out. All right, let's think about this. You would
Someone
use
said
soap,
turn
for
on
example.
walls.
You could use soap on the window and write with that soap, like an SOS, asking for help. So yeah, you can go ahead and put that message on a window. Or also you could use, let's think, your sheets from the bed. You go ahead and tie them up into like a rope formation and go ahead and put that outside of the window.
Mark, someone wrote pounding on the walls or the ceiling.
Yes, yeah. Yes, yeah, that could definitely be effective. Any more suggestions? I'm not sure how we're doing on time right now.
You're doing,
Oh, I do see one more.
yeah, I see one more comment. If you have your phone with you, could you text for help?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question.
And then
Oh, go ahead, Deborah.
another comment came in. Fred wrote that he had an elderly neighbor who fell and I think fell down, pounding on walls, ceiling, door, and it saved him.
Oh, yeah. So now you're starting to see in these different situations and that there's a variety of ways to be able to communicate. And it's important to be aware of that there are many different modes and approaches to communication, especially when you're requiring help. So yes, if you do have a phone and you're able to text someone from your phone for help, that would be great, most definitely. But it depends who you'll be texting in that instance. Like possibly you text a friend or a family member, or someone close by that can help out. And I know that the next presenter will be explaining more on that topic.
This has been fabulous, Mark. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
We're now gonna go back to Chaplain Besa again and let her give us a guided body scan and reset us before our next two speakers.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Mark McGuire, for your advocacy and activism to bring education and awareness to reduce barriers to effective communication with technology for accessibility and inclusion, so that technology and communication access will be available not as an afterthought, but part of the inclusive community model we wish to have in our city. We are here together in community to see how we can affect change. Compassion is not a feeling, it is an adaptive process in relation to our lived experience in the moment. Let us engage once again in resetting our nervous systems. Let us take 3 cleansing breaths, inhaling through the nose and exhaling completely and gently through the mouth. Allowing whatever rises up, whatever discomfort or excitement that you have in your body. And now take another breath, dropping into your body, making an intention to notice the experience in your body. Localize where you feel any tension and release it. Again, let's do this again. Let's take a cleansing breath and notice where you feel any tension in your body and release it. What are you feeling? What thoughts are arising? Now, let us move tension from our face and our head. And as you're able, take your hands and gently rub the top of your head. And for some of us, we have great pain and discomfort here. But send loving touch to this part of your body. This body works for us so hard. So let us give it some love right now and attention. And then bringing your hands to your neck as you are able. If this is not possible, then just make the intention of thinking of your neck and gently massaging and touching and allowing tension to be released. And next, I want you to close your eyes and actively listen. And if it feels comfortable for you, to either put your hands over your heart or to simply connect to the feeling of the area in your heart. And I'm going to read the following statement, and I just want you to actively take this into your body. May I be well, loving, and peaceful. May all beings be well, loving, and peaceful. May I be at ease in my body, feeling the ground beneath my seat and feet, letting my back hold me, enjoying breath as it rises and falls and rises. May I know and be intimate with body and mind, whatever its feeling or mood, calm or agitated, tired or energetic, irritated or friendly, breathing in and out, in and out, aware, moment by moment, of the risings and passings. May I be attentive and gentle towards my own discomfort and suffering. May I be attentive and grateful for my own joy and well-being. May I move towards others freely and with openness. May I receive others with sympathy and understanding. May I move towards the suffering of others with peaceful and attentive confidence. May I continually cultivate the ground of peace for myself and others, and persist mindful and dedicated to this work, independent of results. May I know that my peace and the world's peace are not separate, that our peace in the world is a result of our work for justice. May all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. Placing your hands back down, reflect for one moment and observe what has come up for you while doing this. It could be a physical sensation, a memory, an emotion, or a thought, using no judgment. Just notice what came up. Then let's take a breath together and feel ourselves sitting in our chairs and back in the room together.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Now we're going to switch topics again. 311 is a non-emergency phone number that people can call in many cities to find information about services, making complaints, or to report non-emergency problems like road damage. 311 is an alternative option to 911. It is for people to have a way to report issues that are not emergencies without having to call 911, so that the 911 operators are available and ready to take emergency calls. Today we have Liz Silva, the division director from 311, to discuss the program in Miami-Dade County. Liz, do you want to turn on your camera and start. Just tell me when to switch the slides and I will move them forward for you. Welcome today.
Thank you. And good afternoon to everyone. Can everyone hear me well?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you to the Enable Project and the organizations involved for including the 311 Center in today's discussion. I appreciate the opportunity to educate the community on the 311 Center and the different kind of issues you can reach out to us for. So while individuals, as you mentioned, are familiar with the role of 911 and assisting in life-threatening situations, others may not be as familiar with what 311 centers were set up to help out with. Next slide, Debbie. Thanks. As Debbie mentioned, we are your one source for non-emergency government services. We do assist in 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Creole. And we offer various channels these days on the Intelligent to Digital channels on requesting many common service requests or requests for information. It is often difficult for residents to be able to understand which level of government provides some service when you consider we have municipal, we have county, state, and federal levels involved. So the 311 Center here in Miami-Dade County can provide information about services the county or the city of Miami, our largest city, provides its residents. Now, we also have another 34 municipalities within our county. And so we have the staff here to help out and to understand that if a service or information you're looking for is not particular to the county or the city of Miami, then making sure that you hopefully can get one step closer to which municipal or state or federal level can help you with the concern you have. Now, we are a part of the county's communications and customer experience department. And our focus is really to manage all the different channels that residents may use to access information, make sure that's in accessible formats and preferred methods that all residents like, and making sure that the information is up to date and accurate. That's the day-to-day work that we do. So for those that prefer to reach county government through phone, through email, through web, through television, through social media, we set up the different teams to be able to provide information and keep them connected. Next, Debbie. So for the 311 Center, we offer a lot of assistance with a lot of the daily interactions that residents have. So in things like services you use day to day, your garbage, your recycling, a lot of assistance to our animal services department. Individuals are wanting to adopt animals, individuals finding injured animals or concerns with animal cruelty can contact the 311 Center. We also help out with neighborhood code compliance matters. So if you're in your neighborhood and maybe see issues with an abandoned property, a vehicle maybe that's been parked too long, maybe a neighbor isn't keeping up with the maintenance on their property, maybe there is a neighbor maybe doing building work without the proper permits. Those are all the different and many more code compliance type matters that you can reach out to 311, and we can open investigative reports so that a compliance officer can go out and conduct an investigation, and if needed, either educate residents or open appropriate warnings or citations to deal with issues. As well as mentioned, we do a lot of work in keeping the community clean, making sure our roadways are safe. So if you have the unfortunate drive on the way somewhere and hit a pothole or see a pothole, you can report that to us so that we can open reports for our public works team. Issues with stop signs are reported daily to us, traffic signals, faded signs. Now in the summer, as we go into the rainy season, grass and trees are growing. And so residents help us to keep track of where maybe medians or swales are overgrown. And we get those reports to the appropriate departments. Rainy season as well, storm drains. So if you have one near you or where you reside that are maybe clogged, need cleaning, we can open those types of reports. And really, we try to provide, as mentioned, a one-stop resource for a lot of the different things that you count on county government or the city of Miami to help out with. We also can help if you use our public transportation system. So if you want to plan a trip using our buses, the Metro Rail, the Metro Mover, we can assist you with time points, when to go, how to get an easy card, the different things to hopefully making it a pleasurable experience on public transportation. We're coming up now on mosquito season. And so many residents know to give us a call. You're getting a lot of bites around your home or work. We can trigger for an investigation and an inspection of the area. And the officers will look to see if there's any breeding occurring where you're by. We do stay busy throughout the year. We answer over 1 million calls a year, 60,000 emails, and just shy of 500,000 different types of reports and requests for several county departments, as well as departments in the city of Miami as well. Next, I'll talk to you on the various channels and different ways that individuals can reach out to the 311 Center. Debbie, next, thanks. So first up are hours. So when do we have staff available for calls? We are open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we're closed on Sundays and holidays. Now, if there are emergencies, hurricanes as mentioned, pandemics, any kind of things, Surfside building collapse, we do extend our hours when there is a need in our community to make sure that they have access to information, especially in those kind of situations where information changes quickly. So oftentimes, before and after hurricanes or any type of emergency, the 311 Center oftentimes is open 24 hours a day or extended hours. You see there's various different ways to get a hold of us. So I'll go ahead and make sure that you have each of our contact information, hopefully looking into which is your preferred method to communicate. So next up. So if you prefer by phone, you can dial 311, and we also have a 10-digit number in case either your work area or your provider doesn't allow you that direct dialing 3-digit. It is 305-468-5900. And again, we do answer in 3 languages. Now, individuals with a hearing or a speech disability that prefer to contact us, we encourage them to use the Florida Relay. Our agents have a lot of experience receiving calls and working with the relay agents to make sure that we can help and open the appropriate requests or get their inquiries to the right department. Next up, for individuals maybe that prefer to communicate in a written format, and that's easier, then we do have our email. As I mentioned, we get about 60,000 emails a year. So we have a dedicated team watching our email box the 6 days we are open. And that's 311@miamidade.gov. And so you can respond back and forth. We'll ask the questions needed, and we can stay in touch with residents as they have either a service request or some type of incident they're following up with in any of the county or city of Miami departments. Next up, for those that prefer a more self-service online experience, we do have the website. You can always go off miamidade.gov/311-direct. Even if you get to the miamidade.gov homepage, we're also on the homepage, our link to our service request page. There you can see a lot of our most popular options listed. So for us, lots of residents use us to schedule a pickup of bulky pile, issues with your green or blue, your green waste cart or your blue recycling cart. So the wheel comes off, the lid is missing. You can always email, call, or go online and open the report. And that will trigger action then from our solid waste department. As well as if you get home at night and the green cart hasn't been serviced, you can go online, send us an email, and we'll report that missed service to the department. Tree trimming, if you go to one of our county parks and maybe you find that there's equipment in the playground missing, there's a sidewalk that's cracked, making it difficult to be accessible in all parts, you can use the self-service tool or email us and we will notify the Parks Department of what concerns you have at your particular county park. Next up, we have also a lot of the similar experience for those that just want to go online. We do have mobile apps for Android and iPhone users, very similar experience, but if someone prefers to do it via an app and follow a history on your request, the mobile apps offer that option. And they're the same title on either your Google Play Store or App Store. It's 311 Direct. Next up, for tweeters amongst us, we are on social media. And our team in our department also looks after the county's primary channels on Facebook and on Instagram. So if you want to tweet directly to 311 at Miami-Dade 311, we can do the similar conversations that we could have by email or phone and either open a service request you need or point you in the right direction if you're looking for some type of government assistance or a specific program operated by the county or city of Miami. Next up, for those that prefer an in-person, we do have 3 offices. One is at the Permitting and Expansion Center in West Dade. One is at the North Dade Justice Center up in North Miami Beach. And we also have an in-person office at the South Dade Justice Center in the Cutler Bay area. These offices are open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and they close an hour for lunch from noon to 1, as we have one person that staffs these offices. But you can go here in person. If you happen to be in those buildings for other matters, you can stop by and we can try to help you out with any inquiries or concerns or things you may have seen on the way to these buildings on that day. So the same service and thing, just an in-person touch. Last up, I just wanted to make sure I gave an opportunity in case there was any questions or specifics. Not sure yet, is 311 the place to call or email about? And were there any questions from the group?
Liz, this is Debbie. First of all, thank you. The information was fantastic. We have a couple comments in the chat. First, Mark said that 311 Direct app is very nice, very simple and intuitive to use. So I think it's a compliment.
Yeah.
And then we had a gentleman, Fred, put a couple comments relating to how 311 helped with the COVID-19 home vaccination referrals, helping people, as you said, get STS bus cards, and also helping during storm evacuation and transportation to shelters.
Yes, that is a good point, that we are a main helping point in the county's emergency and evacuation assistance program. And I can't miss the opportunity now with hurricane season around the corner on June 1st, that if you want to call 311, if you yourself or an individual or a relative would need assistance evacuating from their home in time of a storm or any type of disaster, it's a year-round program. They should register with the Emergency Evacuation and Assistance Program so that the county can plan with ample time to make sure we have available shelter space, transportation provided. So that's one of those that you can call 311 or email, and we will get you connected to the application or explain any questions on that program.
That's perfect. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing the information, as I said.
My pleasure. Good afternoon to everybody.
We're now going to switch to an update on 911. As I told you at the last minute, Ali, our speaker, had a conflict, but he took the time and actually recorded his voice, as I said, on each slide. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on 911, and then we're going to go through his presentation with his voice and his slides. So just a little background on 911. It was first used in 1968, and it was very successful. So we, as a community, as a nation, decided to create and provide a universal, easy to remember number for people to reach police, fire, or emergency medical assistance from any phone in any location without someone having to look up a specific number when they're in crisis. And that was really the reason why 911 was created. Now, when I reached out to the county to set up this training, I said to them, I know we're getting ready to start having text to 911 and what a need that is in our community. And the Miami-Dade County 911 office said, yes, we agree. We've been working on it for a long time, and it's almost ready to go live. There's a lot of politics, a lot of people that had to approve it and contracts to be signed to make it happen. And it looks like we're about 6 months away from that being live. But they said to me, but did you know that people can text 911 now? And I said, no, I had no idea. You definitely have to explain it at this training today. Because when I talk to people, the answer is they're just not reaching out to 911 as an option. And that 911 said to me, no, please tell them, reach out to 911. So what Ali's going to tell you about is how it works. And then when 911 to text is live, we're going to make another training and go through it step by step by step, how it's going to work. But for now, you're going to learn what you should do in an emergency, and how to reach 911.
Hello, my name is Ali Riaz. I'm a police communications coordinator with the Miami-Dade Police Department's 911 Center. I would like to talk to you about what options are available at our 911 Center for the deaf and hard of hearing community. The Miami-Dade Police Department is finalizing its plans to upgrade our phone system to allow text to 911. Shown on this slide is a sample of what the conversation between a 911 operator and a texter may look like after the upgrade has been completed and tested. Hello, my name is Our 911 Center currently uses a software called Carbine. With Carbine, the 911 operator can send a text message to any cell phone, and if the caller allows access, they will be able to chat and share pictures as well as video with the 911 Center. In the example shown here, the 911 operator has real-time location on the caller or texter's device. A text conversation between the operator and the texter appears on our screen and looks like a normal text message conversation. In accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, our 911 Center provides direct and equal access to 911 services for people with disabilities who use teletypewriters. Our operators are thoroughly trained on TDD etiquette, and they are trained every year to ensure they're able to handle these calls. Our 911 Center is also equipped to handle real-time text directly from a user's cellular device. On this slide are links for Apple and Google that detail how a user can activate real-time text on their devices. When calling 911, the user can choose the option to use real-time text and communicate with the 911 operator the same way that TDD and TTY currently work today. If you have an emergency, dial 911 first, then use the TDD or real-time text on your device. For all silent 911 calls, our operators activate the TDD in hopes that someone will respond. We can use Carbine to start a silent chat, and in all three scenarios, we have access to your device location. We are here to help in an emergency do not hesitate to contact 911. Thank you for your time.
Mark, I know you put a question in the chat. We're going to get to that in a minute, and we'll let Liz come back on and answer it, okay? So as you've heard from our discussion today, this is just the beginning. Technology is being used to benefit people with all different types of disabilities. Look at how Zoom and other online platforms have become so integral in our lives. We're using it today. Throughout history, the biggest leaps forward for people with disabilities have been after or as the result of a big event. One example is after World War II, when the injured soldiers came home from the war, attitudes about disability changed. Initiatives were created to restore fitness, mobility, and daily living skills to disabled servicemen and women. A new social model started that included people with disabilities. As a society, we worked to adapt our physical environment and include people with disability. The pandemic is another one of these big paradigm shifting events for people with disabilities. And this time, it's not about the physical environment, but the digital or technology environment. We are only at the beginning of this shift, and I believe that it's going to be a giant leap forward for people with disabilities. Having the ability to use technology to not only get information, but to be able to participate in meetings, events, and other activities through the use of technology is huge. Removing the barrier of needing to physically be somewhere in order to participate is truly life-altering. The voices and opinions of people with disabilities will be able to contribute and inform the conversations of the future. All right, Liz, if you want to turn on your camera again, I'm going to read to you some of the comments that came into the chat. The first one is, how can someone using the 311 Direct app ask about non-service information? For example, the parade route for the 4th of July parade.
Yes, you can use the 311 Direct app or our webpage. We offer a general inquiry form. It's called Ask 311. And there you can put any types of general questions or not sure which issue you're reporting. In the example of the 4th of July parade, if the county or the city of Miami is sponsoring or somehow involved, we can probably get some information. If it's another municipality or entity that's sponsoring that parade, our goal is always hopefully to get you one step closer to who would have the information you're looking for.
Yeah, and one of the things that I loved about the 311 presentation that I saw was that all of the county employees are being able and being trained to not say no, I don't know, but that even if they're not the right department, the idea that you're going to try to help people get to the right department, I found so exciting and hopeful that people wouldn't get lost in the queue, so to speak.
Yes.
And if you could explain a little bit about that, I think that's one of the frustrations that a lot of people with disabilities feel.
Yes, one big initiative of our mayor, Daniela Levine Cava, is what she calls the No Wrong Door initiative. And under that thought, all county employees were trained about the different services the county itself provides, because we're a large group, 30,000 plus employees, 25 departments and several agencies. So even within our team, we're not always sure what the neighbors to our right or left are doing. So we all attended training to better understand what services we provide. And as you say, the goal at heart of the training is that if any county employee gets asked a question, is that no, that's not me, not my area, isn't the first response. It's let me see what I can help. Let me see if I can get you to the right folks. So again, always trying to move the individual one step closer to finding that right information, whether it's through the county or using other partners like our Miami 211, which is like a sister to 311, but really focuses on social service agencies and referral to community groups, as well as an integral part of the National Suicide Prevention Line.
This is Debbie. There was a follow-up to your answer. And Mark wrote, thank you. So to be clear, if it is a different county or city that does not use 311 direct, we need to look up those cities, county apps to contact them.
Yes, unfortunately, yes. There are lots of 311 centers now around the United States and Canada. On some of the technology limitations, there is not one national 311 center. You would have to contact or use the app for Washington, D.C., New York, Toronto. Sometimes for us here, we get calls and it's for the Broward County. And because of the way cell phone towers work, we'll just get you connected to the Broward 311 or get you the information line for Naples, Sarasota, if it's not exactly us.
Now, what if it's like Miami Beach? Would you have that information even though it's its own city?
Yes, we try to at least get you. So even if in conversation, we find out that it's not the county or the city of Miami that maybe provides your garbage or recycling service, it's Miami Beach, then we'll give you the phone number to Miami Beach Solid Waste so that you can continue the inquiry with them. Many municipalities have their own code compliance teams, and so we'll get you the information so that you can open a code compliance matter with Cutler Bay, Hialeah, whichever municipality may have its own compliance officers.
Perfect. Thank you. We had a couple more comments about 911. I'm just going to read them out. One, this is for Mr. Ali. Will 911 text also be available for fire, EMS, medical in the coming months or just police? It was my understanding that it's any first responder, and we can get clarification on it, but that was my understanding. Anything that would go through the 911 now will go through the text app. And the second question was, will the 911 text be available just for Miami-Dade County or for City of Miami Gardens PD also? And my understanding is anything that would go through the 911 to Miami-Dade County now, they would be able to receive the text and then contact those local police departments. So I think the answer is yes, but we can get confirmation and I will email directly the answers. Is there anyone else who has a question for Liz before she leaves? All right, thank you again, Liz, so much.
My pleasure. Good afternoon, all.
Excellent. All right, we're gonna continue. As I've told you before, this is a training that was presented by the Enable Project, and there are several partners that make up the project. The lead agency is Catalyst Miami. We also have the Center for Independent Living of South Florida, my organization, Disability Independence Group, the Advocacy Network on Disabilities, and this year we added in Enable Project Advisors, and we have 3 of them, and they're actually all on the training today. You heard from Mark, he was one of our speakers. You heard from Chaplain Besa, who did all of our mindfulness today. And our 3rd project advisor is Fred Christian, who's been participating both in the discussion and in the chat. And he actually presented on our first training. And it has been a nice extension or expansion of the project this year to bring in the project advisors. And I don't know if any of the partners want to tell a little bit about their organization or talk about the mission of their organization before we move on. I know we have representatives from all of the organizations here. If you do, just turn on your camera.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi.
Hi, this is Irene Diaz. I'm the president and CEO for the Advocacy Network on Disabilities. And we provide assistance to families. We provide counseling, parenting training, emergency financial assistance to families who have individuals with disabilities that in their midst, whether it's children with any disabilities or adults with developmental disabilities. We also work to do professional development so that people can include people with disabilities in all of their activities. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Debbie. I'll go ahead and go. My name is Fred Christian, and I'm a disabled community activist and founder of the social media organization Impact. Impact's purpose and mission is to advocate for those by being a voice for the voiceless on issues such as disability rights, healthcare, accessibility, gun violence, affordable housing, and any other issues such as climate change that may need to rise, and explain to the community what's going on so they may benefit. We are a national organization as well as a county, city, and state organization. We work with everybody and we partner with everybody. And I'm a disabled adult and I run it. And I partner with other disabled people too. And I want to thank everybody for this forum.
Thank you, Fred. Allison, you want to go next?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Allison Dos Santos. I am the Community Engagement Coordinator for the Center for Independent Living of South Florida. We are a community organization that provides free services to individuals with disabilities, including visible and non-visible disabilities. And we also serve all ages. Our services, our core services include peer support, advocacy. We also provide independent living skills training, transition support. So if you are a youth transitioning out of high school, going into higher education, or maybe you're going into the working field, we can provide support for that. And then for individuals who are transitioning out of assisted living facilities to more community-based living, we provide support for those individuals as well. Thank you, everybody, for sharing such important information today. We are always a proud partner of the Enable project. And before I forget, we also provide interpreting solutions. So our wonderful American Sign Language interpreters who are here today, we can help coordinate to have interpreters at your next event, whether it's in person or virtual on Zoom, such as this. And again, thank you all for your time, and we hope to see you guys at the next event. Thank you.
Camilo, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. This is Camilo Mejia. I'm the Networks Director at Catalyst Miami. We're one of the partners of the Enable Project, and I wanted to thank everyone who was involved in today's workshop and everyone who participated. especially our presenters for this really great presentation. I think it's wonderful that we were able to get our advisors to be a big part of the workshops, all three of them for this cycle. Also, I wanted to thank the ASL and language interpreters. Without them, this wouldn't be accessible. Also, our CART professional who has been providing the closed captioning. We're truly committed to making this truly accessible for everyone and to change the way that we do work in Miami-Dade County, and hopefully, create a ripple effect so that people in other areas will also start becoming more accessible. And I actually wanted to bring Allison back, maybe Besa, because we do have, as part of the Enable project, another workshop coming up this Thursday. It's going to be a Med Talk, and it's going to be about strategies and solutions to care, or to take care of your mental health. But I don't know, Allison, if you want to say a few more words about that. And then before I pass it on to Allison, also to once again, thank everyone for participating, and then also to let you know that we're going to be communicating with you about next steps for the Enable project, our next cycle and workshops when we have had an opportunity to talk with partners. And then also I would like to ensure that everyone knows how to access the resources that we have created through the programming. But with that, I'll pass it on back to Allison to talk about Thursday's workshop.
Yeah, so we have Med Talk, My Mental Health, which is, very timely because Mental Health Awareness Month. So we are very excited to be having Besa, and I'll pass it over to Besa, but I'll give just, a little bit of detail, just the time. So it's going to be this Thursday, May 26th from 2 to 3 p.m. Going to be hosted via Zoom. And I'll pass it over to Besa to give us a little more information on what she's going to be discussing during this event.
Thank you, everyone. These trainings are such needed tools for the community. So thank you so much, the Enable partners, for creating this inclusion and for actually showing community what is possible, right? When we put everyone with equal inclusion and equity. And so I'm really excited for this Med Talk because it's going to be a place where we're going to have praxis. So get ready to come and de-stress yourself and learn about how to have practical tools when you are on your own, when you are in triggering situations. When you receive news that you have no control over, right? And this pandemic has really created loneliness. Statistics have shown how much we are being struck with, challenges and uncertainty. And so we're going to have a community discussion. So be comfortable, come through, and bring some questions that you want to receive some support with, and looking forward so that we can all have some space and grace for ourselves, and hope that you'll sign up, and we'll see you then.
Thank you so much. And I have on the screen the link for how you can get all of the events that the Center for Independent Living have planned. And as Camilo told you, we have created a tremendous amount of materials. Here are the links to get the information, both the copies of the PowerPoint slides and the videos on the YouTube channel. And last, we want to thank you for spending 2 hours with us today. You can use your phone and take a picture of the QR code on the screen. And it's going to take you to a survey about the training. Or I put the link to the survey in the chat, and you can access it that way. The survey just helps us gauge if you liked what we did, want us to continue doing things this way, or suggests better ways that we might be able to do the work that we're doing. And as I'm sure you can hear from everybody that was speaking today, we truly love this project. We truly love creating these trainings for you and sharing the information that we have with everyone. So thank you so much, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day.